Raleigh's implementing its Unified Development Ordinance, right? Drafted and refined from 2009 to 2013, right? The UDO has been continuous in some circles. Moss, can you give us a brief walkthrough of the UDO for anyone who's familiar with the language? Then I'll go into the questions after that.
Sure. So to catch everyone up to speed that may not know, there was a UDO that was implemented back in, I think, 2013. But the big push now is to remap or re-identify zoning for about 35,000 parcels citywide in Raleigh. It's about 30%. And people are upset, and they're upset on both sides. You've got people that live in neighborhoods which now have a mixed use in their backyard, so you've got neighborhood groups upset. You've also got property owners that are upset, and those are people that have been there for years. Those are also people that bought it as an investment. I'll speak on the side of the contractors and the developers because that's who my clients are, and I think that's what people would be interested in. The two biggest issues that they're running into is there's a hard and fast now when it comes to size or how tall you can go. And Bill, you mentioned before that we're trying to get the density up. Well, when you look at the new mapping, and they haven't put this, they're still having public hearings, but you'll see there's a website. You can type in City of Raleigh UDO remapping, and you'll see what the zoning is now, and you'll see what the rezoning is going to be. But the first thing that you'll see in downtown is 2 letters, and it might be IX, and X stands for mixed use, so it might be industrial mixed use. RX, residential mixed use, DX, downtown mixed use. And then you got a dash, and then there's a number, and that number is anywhere from 1 to 3 to 5 to 12 to 40. Downtown where Wells Fargo is a DX 40, and that stands for how tall can you build. And what you're doing is you're putting hard and fast on how tall each building can be built in downtown. And it used to be up for discussion. So you could submit a project, and based upon your neighbors and what the town thought, you could build that project. Well, now it's saying, you're capped, and a lot of these around Glenwood South are capped at 5 and 7. And you used to have developers that would be looking to go 12, 15, 18. And you're seeing property owners whose expectations used to be here on price are being reduced because their zoning now only allows them to do 5 stories instead of 7 stories because density ultimately determines price.
So, based on that, what is your guys' opinion? Is it helping us at this point, or, is it a hindrance?
I think it could be a help if, our issue at DRA is we've lobbied pretty hard on the height issue. We think that, frankly, it is capping height in downtown at a much lower rate than it ought to be at. I will clarify that, if something is zoned for DX 40, you can build a building above 40 stories, but you must go through the Planning Commission and City Council review. And for a lot of developers, that frankly isn't worth the brain damage. And so what you see is the market pretty much responds to what that height level is. If I can build a 12-story building and just go through very basic admin review in the city, or I can build a 20-story building, but I have to take it through Planning Commission, City Council, and public hearing, which one are you going to do, right? And so that's what we've sort of tried to convey, is that you all are essentially sort of stunting the market in downtown. And what that does is we have sort of 2 options here in Raleigh. We're adding 175,000 people over the next 15 years. They can go up or they can go out, right? And there's a very clear choice in that. And there's only so much that can go out before it goes into other cities or they go to other regions, right? So, I think it could be a help because, honestly, it is supposed to sort of clear a lot of the bureaucracy of building in the city. But we've had a little bit of an issue with the height.
If you're looking to develop a piece of property in downtown and needs to be rezoned, site plan, you're looking at 1.5 years, probably, if not more. And Valerie, you can speak on that more. But you've got to convince the sellers to wait that long while you're under contract to do that. And that, with the market the way it is, they're not as patient as they used to be. And G, I'm sure you see that too. So to try to go through and go up and above, you're trying to convince the sellers to give you more time, which is something that you just don't have as a contractor nowadays. So.
No, I will add that, as most of you know, owners nowadays want it yesterday. With the construction prices escalating the way they've been escalating, to tell someone that it's going to be 1 year or longer in order to get your plan approved, you just see the eyeballs glass over, and you're pretty much done with that conversation. So anything that we can do to decrease, the regulations and increase the ability to go up faster and more efficiently is only going to promote our growth in a healthy way.
Hope so. Jay, would you like to add anything to that?
Well, I see it as the UDO as being a way of having sort of a smart approach to how we would develop Raleigh. I mean, if you compare it to other cities that have experienced tremendous growth, take Houston, for example, where they don't really have that. It becomes more of an issue because you can have a hodgepodge of things mixed together, and which has been detrimental in some areas that have tried to revitalize in the city. So I think the plan itself, you know, I mean, obviously there's things to be worked out and that sort of thing, but to at least have the plan itself is the step in the right direction.